One of the things that I've tried really hard to do is separate the relationship from the personal aspect of it and understand that, yes, I know there's a person on the other side of every single decision you're making and there's emotions attached to that person, but you have to make the right decision for you.
Are you holding yourself back out of fear of your relationships changing? Even what I just did with Kevin before this episode was like, are we gonna be good if I were to like lean into this side of me? And at the end of the day, what's the alternative?
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was Sunday's episode number 1014. Do you actually want what you say you want? Today, for episode number 1015, happy Monday. What do you do when you feel like you're outgrowing your circle? I would say this is one of the most common things, one of the most common questions, one of the most common pain points that people deal with, because if you think about it, nothing grows at the same rate as the things around it. If you plant two seeds, those seeds are going to grow at different rates. They're never going to be exactly the same. And I believe humans are the same way. And the level to which you grow, or the rate at which you grow, I believe is probably going to be directly correlated to the goals that you have set. So if you have really, really, really big / really different goals than other people in your life, you have to understand that you're probably not going to grow at the same rate. You hear that giant plane flying over my house?
I do.
Yeah. There's an airport like right there. It's wild. Yeah, it's pretty nerve-wracking, honestly. So one of the main points I wanted to make in this is, if you do feel like you're outgrowing your circle, or vice versa, if you feel like your circle is outgrowing you, the main point that I want to make is you don't have to feel bad about it. I think a lot of people, when they initially get that pain of, wait, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this, and the people around me aren't necessarily doing that, I must be a terrible friend because I'm not making as much time for my friends, or I must be a terrible friend because I am putting my business or my clients or my relationship or my fulfillment and my own well-being, mental health, whatever it is, fitness, I'm putting that ahead of my friendships. You have to understand that if your goals require more of you, then you're going to have to find time to do those things. And I think a lot of us, the initial reaction is we get guilty. We feel guilty of, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. I'm a bad person. I know I went through that a lot in the beginning. And then I think that I tried to have the understanding of everybody wants something different. And when you want something different, it's going to require something different of you. And I think that's just a hard conversation to have with yourself. One of the things I always ask when people say, I feel like I'm outgrowing my circle, what do I do? I always say, number one, ask yourself, why are you friends with your circle to begin with? Why? Is it because you always used to be? It's because you used to do these things, you have this nostalgia? Or is it because you still have core values, core beliefs, and core aspirations that are in common and they're setting you up for the future? I think a lot of us try to delude ourselves into thinking, well, yeah, we've always been friends, so we're always going to be friends. That's like saying, you've always lived somewhere, so you're always going to live there. Things change and opportunities present themselves, and you have to understand, okay, well, I'm only living here because I didn't have enough money to move to where I wanted to, or I'm only living here because my job is right down the street. When you get a new job, you end up moving. So I think that one of the things that I've tried really hard to do is separate the relationship from the personal aspect of it and understand that, yes, I know there's a person on the other side of every single decision you're making and there's emotions attached to that person, but you have to make the right decision for you at the end of the day. And you don't really owe it to anybody else. And obviously there's a fine line, but you don't really owe it to anybody else to play small or to hold yourself back or to slow down, especially if you're going to end up regretting that in the future.
I was listening to The Power of Vulnerability. It's a 6-session series by Brené Brown yesterday. I actually just recommended it to one of my clients as well. And Brené says, choose discomfort over future resentment. That's like one of her mantras. In other words, saying no to people that you're outgrowing. Kevin and I have seen this time and time again. And when you're in the self-improvement space and people are coming to us, we're very, very blessed because we have so many people that really do come to us to achieve their goals and to grow and to get better and to get 1% better every day and to improve their health, their wealth, and their love. And now that we're 5 years into this journey, this is an inevitable byproduct of you leaning into whatever makes you great. There is no possibility, from my understanding, from all the people that I've seen, of you like actually leaning into your own gifts and your own greatness and leaning into courage and leaning into your dreams without having this happen. So I have so many clients. This is like I would say this is the number one pain point. So much, in fact, that we call it lonely land, where you don't really fit in anymore with the old persons, places, things, and ideas that you used to surround yourself with. And now you're trying to be next level, and you're growing, and you're reading books, and you're doing book club, and you're hiring a coach. Even just hiring a coach is like a really weird statistically thing to do. Most people don't have coaches. And you're growing. You're focused on your goals, your health, wealth, and love. You're tracking your habits maybe. And all of a sudden, you're different. You're very different now. And it's like a tunnel. Shout out to Brandon for this analogy because he said, I feel like I'm in the center of a tunnel through a mountain. And I can still see the light behind me that of the old life I used to live with the old persons, places, things, and ideas. But as you get closer and closer and closer to the center of the tunnel, it gets darker and darker and darker because the light behind you gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. But you can see the light in front of you on the other side of the tunnel, and that's getting brighter and brighter and brighter as you get closer and closer and closer. But the center of the tunnel is the darkest. And the center of the tunnel represents this feeling of, I'm outgrowing the old persons, places, things, and ideas. I'm saying goodbye to the old version that I used to be. And I'm going to courageously charge forward through the darkness. And what Kevin and I try to do is we try to say, okay, listen, I know you're in the dark. I know you're in the lonely land. I know that the way you used to live, you've decided to leave behind. And that's awesome. Hang in there because the other side of this mountain is better than you think. Even though it feels terrible right now. And this is what I wrote down. Help the listeners realize that you're not alone in this. Everyone goes through this, including Kevin and myself. And it's not a one-time thing. These tunnels that we have to go through are, I think every year, in some ways every month, every quarter, every decade. And I think that all of life is this constant evolution of who we are. And I think of it, I've said this many times, like the phoenix in Harry Potter that burns down, and Harry's like, oh my God, I don't know what happened. Like, Dumbledore, your bird just burst into flame and caught fire. And Dumbledore's like, no, it's okay. Fox is a phoenix, Harry. The phoenix burns down and then it is reborn from the ashes and then the little bird comes out. I think all of us are doing that all the time. I really do. Kevin and I had a conversation right before this episode where I'm like, I think that there's a past version of me that is still hanging on to this idea of helping people with their mental health and their emotional well-being and fulfillment. And while I know that's a part of what I do, I think that I'm evolving into more achievement orientation because I'm starting to understand that one of the unique gifts that I have through mathematics and the science of achievement is that I can help people achieve more. I think I can help people achieve more. And I realize that in the past, when I was so focused on achievement, it was at the expense of my fulfillment. And I can tell that I have fear around leaning into achievement at the expense of fulfillment, and especially at the expense of my relationships, which again is what this episode's about. So just being vulnerable here, I'm still scared. I even said to Kevin right before this episode, I said, do you think that me leaning into achievement is going to affect our relationship? Because there's a part of me that's afraid that if I lean into this science of achievement part of me, that my relationships are all going to shift. And the truth is that that's true. Every relationship in my life will shift when I shift. Every relationship in my life will have to change when I change, because you're at least half of every relationship in your life. And so I also wrote this down, the most important lesson. It's impossible to grow without every relationship in your life also shifting. And the audio message that I got yesterday was something along the lines of this, and this is just my verbalization of it. Alan, I just want to verbally process through some stuff. I'm having a hard time. I was with an old friend of mine for a couple days, and honestly, and I mean this with love because this person's a wonderful person, but she gets up late and she's kind of lackadaisical, and she doesn't really want to do as much as I do, and we wouldn't leave the house until 11, 12, and I really want to get up and get after it, and this person's really not as focused on their goals and dreams as I am, and it's really hard. And I realize that, I'm not going to be able to spend a lot of time with people like that anymore. And this is really hard for me because I love this person. And I've transformed, and I know that this is who I am now and who I want to be, most importantly. And I just realize now that this person who I thought I could spend several days with, I don't think I can, even though I do feel like I could spend many days with you. And this audio represents what I've gotten from pretty much every single client who's stayed with me long term, every single team member to some extent. It really is that. The best example that I can give of this episode is when I quit drinking. Because when drinking is a huge part of your life, you tend to surround yourself with other people who drink. And when I quit drinking, and I'm coming up on 3 years, I don't drink ever, and I'm not around anyone who drinks. And honestly, when people drink around me, they're probably a little uncomfortable because they know I've been challenged in the past with that. And so, some people have a drink or two around me, but all of my relationships that those people that still drink regularly, and that's their choice, totally fine, I don't spend a lot of time with them anymore. And that's only one thing. Imagine if a bunch of things about you change, right? So I think this is what holds people back most. I really do. Kevin believes that it's self-belief, and I think that self-belief will, help you grow more than anything else as an individual. But when it comes to growing and relationships, I think my deepest pain in my growth journey has been this, for sure. And so I feel you. And whether it's the person who audioed me, or it's me quitting drinking and not being able to spend as much quality time with people who drink, or it's, Kevin, talking about that past friend who he doesn't see anymore. All of us are having to choose the best version of us, the next level version of us, and having the courage to do that while knowing that there is a trade-off. There is a trade-off, and the trade-off is saying goodbye to that old world. The trade-off is saying goodbye to many of those old relationships, at least in the capacity that they used to be. That's not to say that the relationships can't transform with you and that you can't bring them with you in a certain capacity, but it will not be the same as it was, and it honestly can't be. And I think that's how we get stuck, is we delude ourselves into believing that, we'll be best friends forever, and it'll be the same as it always was. And I have a very, very, very close friend of mine who, every time I spend time with him, it's different. And I don't think he's that much different, quite frankly. He's not that much different. Every time we hang out, like, how's it going? He's like, same old shit, different day. And I have all this stuff to catch him up on. It's like, oh my God, what's different? It's like, well, all this stuff. And it's like, okay, so this relationship's different mostly because I'm very different, and that's okay. This person is, making their own choices, right? So you're not alone in this, not at all. If you're into growth, this is going to be a challenge. And if you figured out a way for this not to be a challenge, you can reach out to us, or we'll listen to your podcast, because I'm still working on this one every day. But my question is, are you holding yourself back out of fear of your relationships changing? Even what I just did with Kevin before this episode was like, are we going to be good if I were to lean into this side of me? at the end of the day, what's the alternative? Just don't lean into the part of you that you want to. Like, I really don't have an option when you really think about it.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Helen Baker from Melbourne, Australia. I'm an entrepreneur and a client of Alan's from Next Level University. I've had many business coaches in the past, and I can honestly say that Alan is seriously next level, and excuse the pun, but he has this unique ability to help you find a solution to your business problems using his intellect and his business modeling and his genuine, heartfelt desire to help you achieve your goals. I can be vulnerable with Alan, I can share anything and feel comfortable in his presence, knowing that at the end of our coaching sessions, I feel empowered to do incredible things. So if you're looking for a business coach, I highly recommend Alan, because his advice and his ability to coach you will be instrumental in achieving your success.
One of the reasons I don't, and I'm kind of coming to this conclusion during this episode, but one of the reasons I didn't try to form a closer bond with my dad after he came back into my life is because I knew I'd outgrow it. I knew it. There's no way that was going to work. You went from not knowing me for however many years to now me being me. It's like, there's no way you're going to understand me. How could you? You couldn't possibly. You couldn't possibly understand me. So that was one, and again, I always want to preface this.
Can you go a little deeper on that regarding why you know that relationship wouldn't be sustainable for you? Because I think there's a lot here in terms of you could create a relationship with your dad, but it would be very difficult for you to be this version of you.
Right.
So can you go into that a little bit?
It's hard to, it's layers. My dad's awareness on, not only is my dad's awareness of me super low in terms of like my personality, my experiences in life, and anything really, right? Because he was never there. So not only are we starting from a baseline of like, just as a human being, my dad does not understand me, but as a human being trying to change the world, he has absolutely no clue what that even means. To the point where we were talking about podcasts in the beginning, and he was like, what's a podcast? And it's like, okay, I understand you don't know what that is. That's fine. But yeah, I think the layers of it are, it's hard. There's so much going on in my life that's very hard to explain to anybody, never mind somebody who doesn't know me at all but thinks they do. That's probably the best way to explain it. I don't know. I don't know if I know the layers. It's very much, there would have to be so much for me to catch you up on, but then either way, you're very much in the plateau and or down cycle of your life. And I know I'm speaking very harshly here. I don't mean it that way. Just from a realistic standpoint, where I'm kind of I haven't even really gotten started yet. So I know that my time is going to be more spread thin, and I'm going to want to put that into the people, places, things, and ideas that I love the most. And there would just be very little time. The time just wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be worth it.
There's very little core values in common.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah. This is, and again, I understand that I can speak about this very easily. I don't know. I have a weird relationship with relationships. But think about it. Okay. If you have a friend who you're friends with because you're friends with them, and not because they're supportive, and not because of the core values, and not because of any of that, that's very similar to my relationship with my dad. We reconnected, and I'm supposed to give this man another shot because he's my dad and he's my blood and all that happy jazz. But for me, it's based more on, well, what does this actually look like in the future? Not what is it supposed to be, not what was it supposed to be, not what could it possibly be. It's what will it be most likely. That's my thought. What will this look like in the future most likely based on our current relationship, what you're doing and what I'm doing? And I'm always running that. I do not pour into things that I do not believe will be here in the future. I really we talked about that recently. Now, again, I understand that's not most people's experience, but you really have to ask yourself that question of, would you trade in your goals in the future that you desire so heavily for the relationships you used to have? Are the people in your life the best from your past or the best for your future? When I feel that, when I have those feelings of outgrowing, and again, my circle is very tight right now and always pretty tight and small, but I ask myself that question. Is this person the best for my future or the best from my past? And if it's this person is the best from my past, then I have that conversation of like, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? Does this person, really think about this. And not from a selfish standpoint, but if you're out there, your time is valuable. Your relationships are valuable. There should be some sort of checklist that people have to meet. There has to be a criteria for somebody to be in your life. Just like an intimate partner. There has to be some sort of criteria. And I think that we forget. It's almost like people get grandfathered into our lives because we went to school with them. It's like, oh, we used to be best friends and you know all these things about me, but now you don't believe in my goals. You do things I don't want, and maybe it's not that negative, but yeah, that's my through line here is make sure you have a realistic criteria for why people are in your life on both ends. Obviously, do you have to want to change the world to be in my life? No, I'm not at that level, but you have to have some goals for sure, because if not, I don't know there's not gonna be a lot to talk about. Right. And I think that's just it's a hard conversation to have with yourself, for sure.
I got to share this quick and then we'll go. I was on the phone with a client yesterday. Awesome woman. She's extremely successful, well-known. And I said to her very directly, I said, the dreams that you have set, the aspirations, core aspirations and core values, the dreams that you've set that you want to achieve and why you hired me as a coach, in my honest opinion, the biggest bottleneck to you achieving those is that you don't have people around you that have higher standards for themselves than you have for yourself. And so it's a 5-pointed star. I literally, on my Remarkable, during my coaching calls, I share my screen and my Remarkable I can draw on it right on the screen, and I draw a star, 5-pointed star. And I put her name at the center of the star. And do this. Like, seriously do this if you sit down and aren't driving. Put your name at the center of the star. So I put her name at the center of the star, and I said, okay, I want you to give me the 5 human beings who have the highest standards for themselves that you can think of, that you spend time with regularly. She put my name on there. I appreciate that. She put one other woman on there that she's partnering with soon that is also a super achiever, super pumped. And she put a couple other names on there. And I said, okay, from 0 to 10, what level of standards do they have for their own excellence? And again, this is an achievement conversation, right? Okay. And so she gave me a 10. I appreciate that. She gave this other person a 9. And then she had 2 6s and a 2. And I said, okay, so you've got a 10, a 9, 2 6s and a 2. So you've got 19 plus 12. Kev, you're good at quick math.
31.
31 plus 2. So you're looking at 33. 33 divided by 5 is what? You're looking at 6.25
maybe, something like that.
6.25, something like that. So you're probably feeling like your level of excellence is around a 6.25. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, no, this is like a law. This is a law. This is how it works. You can only have standards. Ever since Emilia came into my life, my standards for myself went way up. Her standards in fitness went way up. We increased their standards in their podcast, their audio quality, all that kind of stuff. So you are the sum average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I digress here. This 5-pointed star, here's what I said. I said, listen, this woman, her name's Jenny, you got to get around her more. My brain calculates stuff. My brain said more Jenny, as much as possible. And I went to her Instagram and I can tell the caliber of human being. And honestly, this other person, I know this is hard, but how do we allocate less time to that relationship? Because quite frankly, every time we jump on the phone, you're kind of complaining about how lackadaisical she is and how she struggles and how she's really having a hard time and how she's really all over the place and she never really has. I said, what's her level of self-discipline? She said 2. I said, you're not going to be able to have a level 10 self-discipline if you surround yourself with people who have level 2 self-discipline. And your goals that you've told me to help you achieve are going to require level 10 self-discipline. So you got to change this. I wish it wasn't this way, trust me, but it is this way. And I have all the data to back it up. Okay, I've got dozens of people all over the world doing tracking and all that. And so I have the data, I have the research. So here's my point. You're going to outgrow past relationships, period. The only way to not outgrow past relationships is to not grow, and not growing is not an option if you're listening to NLU. And so whether it's my client or Kevin or myself, we all have to learn how to reallocate our time to the persons, places, things, and ideas that are what's best for us. And that is what's best for the world. That is what's best for the world. Because why is it that what's best for us is somehow not what's best for everyone else, when what's best for us is fulfillment and joy and contribution? And if you're a good-hearted person who wants this world to be a better place, and you're working hard every day to make it a better place, why is what's best for you bad for others? Right? It might be quote unquote perceived as bad by this one other person who doesn't understand, but there's a bigger picture here, and I think it's important to look from that frame.
Next Level Nation, if you are looking to grow with a bunch of other people who want to grow in the same direction as you, our 7th round of group coaching starts July 12th. I will actually be messaging the wait list sometime this week or next week, so this is going to fill up fast. We already have several people that have signed up and paid, but we have a wait list from other groups that we're going to message. But if you are interested, please reach out, because it is first come, first serve. And this is going to be the best group we've ever had in terms of the delivery. We have a workbook. We will be on the app. So everything is really coming together. And we were very excited to show you what group coaching is like. And you will get the best results. You will be the most consistent, the most fulfilled, and the most aligned, definitely, over the 3 months of group coaching. So please reach out. Link is in the show notes.
To the point that I made earlier in this episode, I'm going to be leaning heavily into achievement and most importantly, helping other people achieve their dreams. You know, this is heart-driven but no BS holistic self-improvement for dream chasers. If you are listening and you are a dream chaser, whatever that dream is, hold it in your mind. I promise you that my coaching can help you achieve that dream. And that doesn't mean that you couldn't achieve it without me, but I'm going to accelerate the amount of time it takes, and that I can promise you. I'm not good at a lot of stuff, seriously, but when it comes to helping others achieve their dreams, it's definitely something that I've spent my entire life studying, and you know, a lot of my clients that you've seen on these testimonials that you've listened to and things like that, I just want to help you achieve your dreams. That's my dream. My dream is to help other people achieve their dreams. Seriously, I love it. I adore it. I love what I do, and I'm getting damn good at it after all these reps. And I think the world's going to be a better place when more people are fulfilled. And I think that fulfillment is a byproduct of being in alignment with your greatest calling and your dreams. And I want to help you achieve your dreams. So Next Level Business Solutions Coaching, you can check out the landing page. There'll be a link in the show notes. You can read what it offers. And it's bi-weekly. It's definitely cheaper than you think it is. And it's pay as you play. I'm excited to meet you.
Pay as you play. I like that. Next Level Nation, tomorrow for episode number 1016. It is last week's live podcast. What does success actually mean to you? Did we do that one? No, we did something else, didn't we? What did we do for last week's live podcast? I don't remember. We literally changed. Hold on. The importance of the people you surround yourself with. So very similar to what we talked about today. Yeah, we've made a lot of changes. You know, we're kind of just freestyling it over here, honestly. We're trying to keep up.
I'm going to get a new intro at some point as well.
Yeah, one of these days we'll get you a new intro as well, since we do 7 solo episodes. It's a whole thing. But yes, join us tomorrow for last week's live podcast. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Talk to you soon.